Okay, today's task is that I am going to hard bolt in the various cross members in the frame here. I'm going to use grade 5 hardware and I'm going to Loctite each bolt. I'm not going to do the final bolt in of the engine cross member since I'm not 100% sure the engine is going to be where I want it. So I may end up moving it backwards or forwards, or I may end up making my own cross member. I haven't figured that part out yet. Okay, before I do anything where I'm bolting in these cross members, I want to make sure that this frame is square. And quite obviously, it's not. The framing square I'm using is obviously showing off level. And the only way it comes back level is if I bring it up to about, I don't know, that's probably a good 1.5 inches, not 1.75 inches there. Here, at the back of the frame, if I move forward, it's not quite as bad. You can see right there, if I can go and hit the thing here, bring that level, and it's probably about 1/2 inch here. And we go all the way to the front, and we measure across here. It's actually tilting in the other direction, so there's quite a twist in this frame. Enough to bring it level is about, actually it's surprising not, actually it's resting on these, on the front core support mount. But if we raise that up, it's actually 3/4 inch in the other direction. So obviously I have to do something about that, otherwise I'm going to, if I tighten down all these bolts on the frame here, holding cross members, I'm going to build a twist into the frame, and well, obviously it's undesirable. Now also I'm going to have to make sure that I measure at 2 cross points on the frame, and make sure that those are consistent before I tighten anything down. Otherwise I might possibly introduce like a bit of parallelogramming into the frame as well. Okay, so I got the cross members in and lightly bolted, I guess I'll call it. I'm just waiting to make sure that everything is good. The frame is all leveled so that there is no twist in it, or at least not a significant twist in it. Couple of things, came up that I had to do. Like this front cross member here. The original was bent. Somebody had obviously tried to tow the truck out of a spot and had actually buckled it quite badly and had pulled the frame rails together. And so that one I had to grind the rivets off and remove that. Normally I think a lot of people wouldn't recommend removing any of the cross members because of the additional hassle of it. But the reality is, that one I had to remove. The front cross member I had to remove. The motor cross member tends to be bolted in, so it's removable anyways. That next cross member just ahead of the rear axle I had to remove because I had to do some frame repair at that point, as well as repair the cross member itself. The cross member beyond that one had to move forward a bit because it I was putting a rear fuel tank in this truck, and the bar at the very, very back is actually the spare tire mount that I moved to the back just to use as kind of a spacer, spreader bar, whatever you want to call it, on the back part of the frame. So in any case, none of this is bolted together permanently. What I had to do here was I couldn't get some of the bolts to match up, so I had to just lightly clamp the frame together so that I could get the bolts in for this front cross member. As well, I had a problem at the back where I actually had to spread the frame a bit. Unfortunately, I've got, the Princess Auto cheap equivalent of a Porta-Power, and just tweaked it just enough. I think I'd need to move about 1/8 inch, and pushed it out so that I could put the bottom bolts in on this side of the cross member. Okay, all the cross members except the engine cross member are now in place, torqued and Loctited. So I guess the next step is look at pulling these axles, or pulling, at least I think I'll pull them one at a time. I'll pull the rear axle first. Well, I'm dismantling the passenger side rear brakes here. And here's a good reason why you should always get new hardware. If you look, this shoe is only about 2 inches wide here. If you check the front, shoe on this wheel, it's 2.5 inches wide. So this is worn away 2 inches off the side of this this brake shoe. And why? Was because somebody either didn't put it in or didn't have new hardware on this side, and it broke and allowed the brake shoe to pull outwards and rub against the inside of the drum. Now it totaled the shoe, and I never actually looked at the drum itself, but I bet it did some significant damage to the drum as well. So, not that this was ever going to be reusable, but this is just one of those good examples to, get new hardware every time. Well, here's the right front rotor, and as you can see, the inside edge is very thin. It might be a 1/16 of an inch thick as compared to, somewhere around 1/8 of an inch for the outer portion. If you look at the pads, you can see the one on the right is the outboard pad, and the one on the left is the inboard pad. The one on the right is pretty much all there, but the other one is worn just about down to the backing plate. And I think I was wrong. I'd said in one of the earlier videos that it looked like he hard bolted the caliper to it. No, that wasn't the case. It was a proper caliper bolt, but I couldn't figure out why it kind of looked odd. And then I went and I cracked open the one of the new ones, and you can actually see that it's a round head one. But I'm not sure if that really makes any difference, other than the fact that it looks like it's meant to fit inside this boss here. So in any case, I'm still not 100% sure what that guy managed to do to, thrash that corner so bad. The caliper is now seized. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to get my core back for it. But, well, at least I got it off. I thought I was going to have to chisel out the pads like I had to do with another car. Or cut the rotor like I had to do with yet another car. Well, the axle's out now. And I saw one spot that kind of makes me a little bit concerned. Like here, the lands, they were all full of rust packed in there, but I don't think that's a big deal. The structure looks solid there, as does most of the axle. But what's got me a little bit concerned is, I'm going to let the pumpkin drop down, is that spot right there. It's a little bit indented. I don't know how thick the axle tubes are, but that looks like that's pretty deep. I don't know if I should come back and maybe fill it with a weld or something like that. Yeah, actually, in retrospect, just after thinking for about a whole 20 seconds here, yeah, I don't think it'd be a good idea to fill that full weld. I'd risk warping the axle tube, and I think I'd rather contend with a leak than a warp. Have it start blowing bearings or be towed. I guess it would probably end up towed out or something weird like that. So anyways, same problem on this side as well, although it doesn't look quite as bad, but it's close. Okay, there's the axle all cleaned up. Used the angle grinders with wire wheels in them. Excuse me, I didn't invite you. Anyways, set up used 2 angle grinders because one kept overheating there. Of course, there's the necessary safety equipment, as well as I had some earplugs in. But it looks not too bad. I had spots I couldn't get into. It's pretty hard to wire wheel those backing discs, and I suppose if I redo the bearings, which I think would probably be a good idea, those will come off fairly easily, and I can just put them in the sandblast cabinet. But everything doesn't look too bad, and it looks like I finally found the BOM code on the axle. Let's see if it makes sense for a 72 pickup. What are you doing? You're gonna get hurt, you big doof. Anyways, so dog's getting into mischief. That's Nikki. It's Chelsea, the German Shepherd, and Sam, the Hound Lab. So anyways, put the fuel tank in the back of the frame, and well, I'd already done it before I ever painted the frame, so I knew it was going to fit well because it had been set up exactly for that. I think that's it for today.